Welcome to Exes Forever. This show is not about love because we have no clue what love is. What we do know is love creates exes. Ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, ex-husbands, ex-wives, etc. Love is the Professor X of generations of X-men and X-women. And this show is about them. My name is Ed Hill.
My name is Jeff Penner.
Game on.
Hey everybody, today we are sitting down with Kim, who is a part-time comedian and a friend of Ed's. And hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
Good. Nice to have you invite me to the show.
Well, thank you for coming and we appreciate it. This is the Exes Forever podcast and we are talking about past relationships. You did mention you've got a couple and you've mentally chosen one that you want to discuss today, yeah?
Yes. Probably I'd like to discuss the worst one.
Okay, well that's...
The worst one's the best.
The choice is yours.
Great.
So.
That'd be fantastic.
So, Kim, do you want to start from the start? Tell us a little bit about how you guys met. And
Okay. Well, we met in a small town. As I said to you guys earlier that I'd been married before, and I was by myself with my boys for 5 years. He was a friend of a friend, and he was single at the time, of course. He was going through some relationship things.
So did you guys meet at a party?
We actually met at I knew him, he was kind of like an acquaintance, I guess you could say. And then we met up at a ball tournament. And then I was going to Penticton for a week with my boys, and he was living in Princeton at the time. So he came over, and we went out for dinner, and then we kind of just kept on dating from there.
Now you're once divorced at this point, right? Sounds
yes,
like? Okay.
I was.
Okay.
And I really hadn't invited any kind of men dating friends in front of my boys before him, because I thought that, that wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, unless you're really
sure
about a relationship, I never thought that having different people in my boys' lives a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this was new.
Yeah, it was new. Yeah, and it was different because he had a little girl, 2.5 years old, that I kind of fell in love with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I ended up staying longer in that relationship than I should have, because of the love of her, not for the love of him, which was kind of a bad mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could you describe a little bit about your first date?
Our first date was kind of not really a first date because my kids were there. Okay, and so was an old friend of mine from the island. So it was more like just a group of people with him and me.
Was it kind of
having
a secret
dinner.
first date? Only the two of you knew it was a date?
No. And then the second date, I had him over for supper, and his little girl came. So we never really had a true first by ourselves date.
Oh, so it just kind of naturally happened
It
that
just
you two
kinda,
got together.
Yeah,
So he came over for dinner. You invited him over for dinner as family friends, or how did that work out? How was that approached?
Yeah, a family friend
Yeah.
with his little girl, yes.
Like, why don't you guys come over for dinner kind of thing? Not necessarily like, I'm interested in you, why don't we go on a date, but bring your daughter?
No, it was more or less just a casual.
I think Jeff is hungry. All he cares about is the dinner. So what did you have for dinner? Was it half a turkey? Was it tofurkey?
Did you bring some?
I burnt something. No, I didn't really burn anything. He actually had a very good dinner. And I did remember what I made. It was homemade barbecue ribs with homemade scalloped potatoes.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, what a waste.
Oh, that's
what a waste.
Sounds like a wonderful time.
It was, yes. And, but, I think that it was because I was by myself for 5 years that I think that one of the reasons that I kind of hooked up with him, not because it was more loneliness than actually you know, those rose-colored glasses really stay on your face, and you don't really see the red flags that you should see. Like, there was a few things that I saw red flags, but it was kind of like, you know, you look the other way because you want this relationship to kind of work.
So were there red flags since the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay, what are some of these red flags?
Well, he got really mad at something when we were in the truck. And it was some stupid thing to do with his truck, and you could just see how he had this terrible anger within him. And I thought, geez, that's pretty angry for such a little thing. And I thought, I wonder if you're like that, like, worse.
Was it over something big, small?
No,
or?
it was, he couldn't get his truck into gear or something like that, and it wasn't something big. And then he got really mad at my one son about something, and he just flipped out. And I should have really kind of ended it there, because I didn't really agree with the way he reacted to something.
So it sounds like he had some rage issues.
He had
that
some
came on
huge
really quickly.
rage issues, and you know, he was a nice guy. Don't get me wrong, but the anger was very detrimental. I was in the relationship with him for 7 years. He fooled around a lot.
So that's another red flag. How long into the relationship before he started dabbling in other
Well, we got
business?
married a year after we were together.
Okay.
And then we had to move from Princeton back to our small town. And he went up to another town to get his education, further his education, I should say. And he came back with ladies' hairspray in his bag, right? And that was kind of like he lied to me, but I knew different. And then, of course, I found a love letter from this girl. And it just seemed that every time I turned around, he was doing stuff like that.
What was his lie? Well, what did he say to you? How do you explain that situation?
He would make it internally that I was just being jealous, and I would internalize it that it was my fault, that I thought that I was overreacting, that I was seeing things that I didn't really see, that my jealousy, because after the first time, well, he kind of lied to me before our relationship, and I found out some stuff after I moved in with him. And I told him, you should have told me these things beforehand, because then what you were doing was pretending to be somebody you weren't. Like, he dated a lot, and he actually had been engaged just before we got engaged. And I felt that I should have known that. Not because your past is your past, but I'm judging a person on somebody that's telling me one thing when he's really another way. Like, I might not have continued dating him had I known he had just broken up with somebody, and he's quickly getting into another relationship so quickly.
So he wasn't in the same place as you were when you guys
No,
started.
no.
He was
jumping around all
Yeah.
over the place.
And you were one of the stops, I guess, for him.
That's right. And the thing is, you know, as I said, 5 years by yourself with your children, and then you get into a relationship that, to me, it doesn't really, you don't have that time for healing to really know who you are and what you want. If you're that type of person, and had I known that, I would think I would have had a different...
Yeah. And you interpret different things when he brings it up, like hairspray. Although I see girl hairspray in Jeff's purse all the time.
That's true.
So,
So when like the hairspray, for example, is that a specific actual thing? Like, how did he explain that away?
Well, he was staying at his aunt and uncle's place, but they had daughters, and said that it was one of the daughters. But you know, the daughter, and he put it
That
in
doesn't
his
really-
it
bag.
sounds like pedophilia.
Yeah, that doesn't make it any better.
I'm not cheating. I'm just touching kids.
Exactly.
And this is one of their hairspray bottles. What's the matter?
Don't be jealous.
Yeah, I never thought of it
Stop
that
reading
way.
into it.
Yeah, well, they were only 10 years old and 8 years old, so like, I didn't really.
Ed.
It's getting worse.
Well, you never know with him.
Oh man! When he went away to school, away out of town, was his daughter with him?
No, his daughter actually was living with his ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
And actually, her and I are friends to this day, which is really
I like it.
a strange
I like
sort
this
of
story.
twist, right?
Yeah.
Because with her, he was terrible to her, and there was so much turmoil.
Are you two friends because he's the mutual friend between the two of you, and that's what got you friends?
Yes. Well, as a
How'd that
matter
happen?
of fact, well, the weird part is when I was single, her and I were kind of dating the same guy, and it wasn't him, but a different guy altogether, and we didn't like each other. Like, we totally hated each other.
Well, you clearly have the same tastes.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's right, because yeah, I know. But you got to remember, it's a small town, so there's not much
right.
to choose from.
There might be a lot of crossover there.
Yeah.
There's only so many dinners you can go to.
That's right. Just don't pick Kim's. You never know what'll happen with that one.
Yeah.
So how was the relationship throughout? Was it rocky?
It was very rocky. We had no money. He spent everything on himself. He was very selfish. Like, my one son was sick, very sick. I don't want to talk about that, only because I don't want to talk about that. He was spending money on himself. Like, for instance, we had no money. We were living, by the time we had bills paid, we were living on like $25 every 2 weeks to feed 5 people, because his daughter came like every week to our place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet, when he got a loan for something, he went out and he spent the whole thing on new hockey equipment, and he said to me, he says, "You guilted me into that." I said, "No, because if I didn't let you go and buy that stuff, you would have been very mad at me and made me feel bad, right? It was your choice to make." I said, "I gave you the choice that we could use that money to pay bills, or because it was his dream that he got all new hockey equipment, right?"
But now that he's a star in the NHL, it's all okay, right?
No, not really.
Oh,
no,
damn it.
not really.
Is he a hockey player, or is he just like putting on
This is
hockey
beer league
outfits?
hockey, or
No,
what?
just like, what do you call it?
Beer league, street
Beer
hockey?
leagues and that kind
Okay.
of stuff. Yeah.
As long as he's playing hockey, he's not just putting on hockey clothes.
Yes, true.
No,
And
no,
he's
that's
putting on
right.
hairspray.
He just
Yeah.
doesn't, he just
He's
doesn't
putting
like
on
it.
hockey gear with the hairspray and doing who
Yeah.
knows
Helmet on.
what.
Tackling kids.
Young
Yeah.
young
Tackling
kids. But I actually separated with him on our 7th anniversary,
Yeah.
the day of, because he started to fool around with the lady next door, and he more or less told me to leave. But the reason he wanted to fool around with her was because she had property, and he had told me beforehand that he wanted her property. So
This is like Murder, She Wrote.
Wow, this is like
Sounds like
reverse gold digger.
Crazy.
you got to remember that this is a small town, and
But he's playing chess.
yeah, but he likes to play chess. And
Yeah.
in the end, I told him
He's playing chess with the penis.
yeah. Well,
So when you broke up with him, had you guys had conversations, I mean, aside from just yelling matches and stuff, had you had genuine conversations about breaking up? And this was just kind
no,
of the
the
penultimate...
reason he said that he wanted to break up with me was because of my trust issue. Because
which is,
I didn't trust him, because, I mean, like, even a buddy of his came down once to go hunting with him and brought his girlfriend, whom we never met, and of course he started to hit on her right away.
In front of you?
Oh yeah, and
Oh, wow.
right afterwards she told me that, that he was hitting on her. So how can you not?
But your jealousy is justified. In
Yeah,
this
exactly.
case.
Like, if you want to be in a relationship, I really truly think that he was in a relationship with me for 2 things. One, I had my son's money for their education. which he borrowed and never paid me back. And 2, he needed a babysitter for his little girl so he could go and do his boy things like play hockey and do all his sports. And he had a very good caregiver, meaning me. Mm-hmm. Because I told him one time, after many years, I think it was 6 years or 5.5 years in our relationship, I says, you know, I love her dearly, but I cannot be the one for her. You have to be the one for her, because she's going to grow up one day remembering all the good things that she did with her Kimmy and nothing that she did with her daddy. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. And how old is she now?
She's 19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when you guys broke up, was that the end of your relationship with her, or are you still in contact
No,
with her?
as a matter of fact, it was the end of my relationship with her as far as he was concerned. He really tried to put a detriment on it. Mm-hmm. And it took her about 3 months to talk to her mom about that. And her mom, like, I relocated to Vancouver. Her mom and I talked, and I was lucky enough to bring her down here a couple of times. And so we don't really have a close relationship. We sort of have a distant relationship. Mm-hmm. But I know that she knows that if she ever needed anything, her Kimmy would be there for her. Mm-hmm. But my boys don't like to talk about him because they had my one son, he was very, very not nice to. And they saw the way I became. I ended up having to go to a women's, self-help group. Mm-hmm. And I was in intense therapy for like 6 weeks, and I had the worst relationship than anybody else.
So he had quite an impact on you as a person. He
had a terrible impact on me. And, you know, but I'll tell you one thing. The best thing that I ever did for myself was get up on that anniversary day, the 7th year, drive from that small town, and start a new life. I went back to university. I took the legal program. I've got an excellent job. I've got a beautiful boyfriend. I've got friends, diverse. I started doing comedy, and life goes on. You know, mm-hmm. The thing is people can't sit back and say, you know, this relationship has ruined me for life. That's not it. You're the one who has to step above that and say that's a chapter in your life that you may want to not reread again.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have to step up and do things on your own, because it does take inner strength, and not everybody, depending on. I say it's like a horse. You know, you got to break that horse, right? Well, if that horse is so high-spirited, you can never break what's inside of them, right? It's mm-hmm. like a person. Their spirit inside of them, okay? If it's broken so badly, then maybe you could end up on the street and become a drug addict or something like that. But if you have that strength to bring your inner spirit up and go on and do something positive for yourself, then you're the true winner, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you talk about this relationship in your comedy? Is that how you kind of...
Geez, I could bash him terribly.
Yeah.
But no, I don't talk about him because I don't really have... he's not in my mind right now.
And he sounds like he kind of doesn't deserve your thoughts.
No, he does not deserve, even if I was to bash him, it really wouldn't...
wouldn't do anything for you.
No, yeah. I wouldn't really get any satisfaction. What I think the best thing that I've done is my satisfaction is worked hard to...
be a better person.
To be a better person. And
now, you said at the 7-year mark, was that the moment of breakup when you left town? Or did it happen before that and you just left?
No,
on that
it was
day?
slowly happening, but that was our 7th year anniversary.
That was the
day.
moment you left?
That I left.
Did you tell him, or you just left?
Yeah, he knew. And I did go back 2 weeks later, and I had a real meltdown. And why I went back, because I heard a song on the radio, right? Like, Stupid or what? Like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Do you remember what song it was?
I think it was one of our wedding songs. It was
okay.
The Rose.
So it's not Britney Spears. Oops, I did
Oh.
it again. It's like, oh no, I'm back in town.
She's
Okay,
back!
Who wants dinner?
I made ribs.
Everything's fine.
It doesn't work that way, though.
So you went back to patch things up, hopefully, or you
I
went back because
thought-
you couldn't help yourself? Or
I just
what?
couldn't help myself. My mind and my mental state was just, way out there, It was like, oh dear. And I think, well, one of the biggest and hardest things was, the more I wanted to leave the relationship, the stepdaughter and the love for her, that's really hard to walk away from a little girl that you're in a relationship with from the time she's 2.5 until she's 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then to just say goodbye, right? It's easier when it's just somebody, like with my first husband, although we're not going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good relationship as far as with our sons go. Like, we both saw the kids and everything else, right?
And this was a little different.
Yeah, this was totally different.
Was there ever a conversation about whether or not she was going to stay with him, were you? Or was that just obviously...
I did go to court,
yeah.
and I did proceed my court proceedings, and I actually represented myself in court, and actually even had a couple lawyers come up, because you're all sitting there with all the divorce lawyers and everything. And they actually congratulated me on a job well done. So
cool.
Obviously going to school worked out quite well. But I actually put her in my court proceedings because I wanted her to know that when she grew up, that even though, because I wanted access to her, right? And that was real icing on the cake. I'll tell you.
Well, he's doing such a bad job.
Yeah.
I mean,
you probably didn't have to... How hard did you have to, just bring him to the stand and go, Your Honor, I present
here's a hockey gear. It's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Forget this guy.
Yeah. But he didn't have to come into town or anything for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was when we had our discovery.
So was all connection severed after you drove away? You guys are done, no connection. Well, I guess you went back 2 weeks after that.
Yes, and after that, we've talked once in a while.
Like, has he tried to borrow money from you after that?
Oh no.
Okay.
He has nothing to do with me, and in his mind, I've never asked him for the money back.
Yeah.
And I think that's a dead deal right there. I don't really...
if you don't mind, would you mind sharing with the listeners how much money it was?
$20,000.
$20,000?
Yeah,
that's
and
Canadian?
that was...
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
and that was supposed to make my boys' education. And that was very hard when they went to school and they had to get student loans.
And did he spend that money on hockey gear?
No, he didn't spend that money on
okay.
hockey gear.
I was wondering, $20,000 on hockey
nice
gear.
gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Here's
No.
a gold helmet.
Gold-plated, yeah.
Yeah, really? No.
Okay, so he spent on various things.
Various things, yes.
Okay.
Well, we did buy a new couch and a new bed and stuff like that, but he did say that he would pay me back, but he never ever did. He I don't know, he was a pathological liar, and I really warn people, doesn't matter what age they're in, is if you're dating somebody to see those red flags and don't doubt your inner voice, because
they might be right.
they could be right, and you end up in a relationship and it just tends to go on and on and on.
You might end up with bottles of hairspray.
Yeah, that's right, or love letters or something.
And it sounded like other people were giving you red flags as well. Is that...
They were giving me red flags, and the thing is he was such a great brainwasher and making me think that it was all my fault. That yes, I am a jealous person, and maybe I should not worry about these things when
He
really
manipulated you as long as he could until you finally figured it out.
yeah, exactly. Well, it took a long time to finally realize that
That was not your fault.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everything in my relationship
Mm-hmm.
was his fault, because I probably, I'm not the best person either. I mean, we all have our
Yeah.
bad
It takes two people to
bad
tango.
parts, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I just became so, everything he did, I couldn't trust
Yeah.
him to go do anything, because I knew that he would, not
Follow through.
well, not follow through. He was a good one and a boy's boy, where he would be there for his buddies and do anything for anybody. But when it came to me, no. And I'm not going to be. I ended up becoming his mother instead of his girlfriend.
Which is exactly what he
okay.
wanted.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
He didn't make you a better person.
No, he
making-
didn't.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a mother to anybody anymore. And, either way, there's relationships that guys are in just as girls are in. And, treads, slowly, because those red flags are there for a reason. They're not there just because you think they're there.
Mm-hmm. They're
Is
trying
he,
to tell you something.
Is he much older than you or younger? Or
He's
same
actually 6 years younger.
Oh, okay.
So this cougar thing.
I didn't want to say anything.
This-
For those who can't see us, Kim is a lovely lady here in a would you say like salmon color?
Salmon color,
dress
yeah.
Here, yeah. So I don't want to say anything.
You want me to leave you alone for a minute?
Oh,
Jeff's getting uncomfortable.
those days are gone. Those cougar days. I'll tell you, that didn't work out for me. Doesn't mean it doesn't work out for different age relationships, because I see them all the time. And even my new boyfriend, he's younger, but he's not that much younger. He's only a year younger.
So you guys are.
I think that the person's headspace, where they're at in their life and everything else.
Did you live together?
No.
No?
We may live together.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I've been, so.
You being cautious?
Not overly cautious, because he's totally he's a very kind man. There's not one hateful thing in him. I'm more the alpha in our relationship, maybe because I'm so strong now. Like a bulldog. Just kidding. Watch out or I'll bite.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I'll sit back down.
Okay, well, I guess we're at the part of the show, and this is the final part of the show,
Yeah.
Kim, and is you have a few options here. I'll let you know what these are. First of all, you can call this ex of yours, and to
Yes.
either to do a do-over, to reconnect, or to say whatever you have to say to him that you haven't said.
Bury the hatchet or...
Bury the hatchet. And the other option is you can call a friend that,
Mm-hmm.
May have known this person and can give us a little, evidence and some opinion that he or she may have on this person. Or you can call his parents, the in-laws, and get their opinion on the situation and what they think of the whole thing. Or we can just give you 3 minutes here on the air, and we won't say anything. We'll ask you any questions, and you can say whatever you like to him here on air.
Okay.
So we'll give you a few minutes here to decide. So Kim here has selected the fourth option. She would like 3 minutes on the air here to herself to say whatever she'd like. So
Now, we did attempt to find someone, but unable to, so we're going to go with this option here.
So Kim, the air is yours.
Thank you, Ed. What I'd like to say to you, I wish, number one, that I never fell in love with you. I wish that we had a better relationship than we did. Financially, maybe things would have been a little bit different there. I wish that you find it in your heart one day to realize how much you hurt me. because the way you made me feel inside when you fooled around with people and said that you never did. I wish one day that you would step up to the plate and realize that yes, you did do these things. I wasn't imagining these things. I hope your relationship with the person that you're with now works out better for you, because I'm not a mean-spirited person. In my heart, I wish good things for everybody. Everybody's on this earth one time, and everybody deserves happiness in their life, including you. I wish that you would realize that everybody doesn't owe you something in regards to all of your past relationships. Sometimes I think that your anger inside is because you're so insecure in yourself, and I hope that one day that you realize that you could be a better person if you overcome those things. I was invited here today, and I really didn't know what was on the plate as far as what I should talk about. I could have talked about my first relationship, but that relationship was a hell of a lot better to me than with you. But that doesn't mean that I don't hope good things for you. I don't know what else to say. If you ever listen to this, I hope you're the best.
Well, thank you, Kim. That was very lovely. And Jeff, well, I guess we'll close the show here.
Last couple of things we ask. If you could have changed, I mean, you've already kind of brought a couple things up, so that you can answer both or one of these. If you could change one thing from the relationship from the beginning or during that would have helped steer the relationship in a more positive direction, what would that have been? Or what's the main thing you've learned from that second marriage?
What I learned from that second marriage is listen to your inner voice and listen to the red flags. Yeah. That's right, Jeff.
All right. Well, Kim, thank you so much for being on the show.
We appreciate
it. You had an amazing story, and we're very happy that you were able to learn from this and be a better person today. And you do look lovely. And we hope all the best. And our final question for you today, I guess, Kim, X is?
Forever.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So that's this week's episode. Thank you for listening to the show. If you want to find out more about the show, please visit us at xisforever.com.
And please subscribe to our show on iTunes or whatever program you are using. And it also really helps out our ratings if you give us a positive review and a positive rating.
And you can also follow us or tweet us at xisforevertime. And if you want to be on the show or you have comments about any guests that have been on the show, please visit us and leave a comment again at xisforever.com.